I'm Shanyn Emerson, and I'm a holistic movement coach. And this is part of my body empowerment series. And the idea, the concept behind it is to become more aware of what is going on inside of your body, to get the posture better and your body moving with more ease. And basically to begin listening to your body, creating a new relationship with it. Not only your body, but your brain and your nervous system as well. So today we are going to take apart squats, and we are going to do that with this with a more internal awareness. So I'm going to lead you through a lot of things to think about and a lot of things to become aware of in your body, and hopefully it changes the way that you maybe do squats, think about squats, and will give you a better workout. But you do want to think about starting slowly with this, because you've done your squats for a long time. All the information that I'm going to give to you today takes a little bit of time for the brain to get hold of it. So don't worry if it feels like you can't do it, you can't get those glutes to fire the way that I'm asking them to. Just be patient, keep working on it. All right, first thing I'm going to have you do is take off your shoes. This is very important to becoming more aware in your body. The feet have receptors on the palm area, and those receptors help with balance and so many other things. So they, if you consider them like eyes, kind of telling the brain, giving all the brain this information. If you put shoes on, then you are blindfolding those eyes. They can't see, they can't feel, they really don't know quite what to do. Especially if it's a very formed shoe, and so it's keeping the feet in a very specific way. And then they really can't, they don't have any mobility because they're just stuck in the shoe base. So I want you to be barefoot for this so you can feel as much as you can. Okay, so a lot of different things are going to go into this awareness. First and foremost, when I see participants doing squats and even instructors doing squats, what I see is a lot of this. So notice that my knees are going forward and my body's just going up and down. This is less of a glute squat, which is when you think about squats, most people will automatically say it's for glutes, but you can fully do a squat without getting the glute involved at all, and that's the motion, is just up and down. However, if you create a hip hinge, okay, and then bend your knees, think about the glutes job is when it contracts, it pulls the pelvis upright. Okay, so we release the pelvis to go into this position, we contract and squeeze the glutes, and that propels us upright. So really, a squat can be as small as this. And when I have new people coming in, I do have them keep the squat super small because I really want to get those glutes working. Once I do that, then we can add in all of it together. But to start with, I want you to think about the old toy, the drinking duck. Okay, so that drinking duck, the pubic bone is literally sliding through the legs, and then the body becomes upright. So it's sliding back and forth. I have a blog post and video on my website that talks about hip hinging and how to do it properly. I'll let you go up, and I'll put the information on at the bottom of the video so that you can find it. But that's what you want to think about. It is a hip hinge, not just an up and down movement. Okay, so now we're going to go into, now that we kind of know the basics of it, we're going to go into the awareness pieces. So let's begin with your feet. Allow the feet to be on a hard surface, preferably. They fall asleep when they're on a soft rug, or if they are on a yoga mat, something like that. Again, it's like putting a blindfold on those eyes. So a hard surface that the receptors can pick up information from. Now, if you close your eyes and go into the bottoms of your feet, I'd like you to note where your weight is in your feet. In your toes, in the midfoot or the forefoot, in the heels. Is it out to the outside edges? Does your weight fall to the inside edges? Is it completely different on one foot than the other foot? So you have more weight on one foot and less on another. So think about all of those things for yourself, and if that's the case for you, try to shift it slightly to if you are shifted to one side, and believe me, you won't even know if you are, because your brain, its job is to help you out, and if you have shifted because of an injury or what have you, the brain automatically says, no problem, I've got you covered. Now this feels like upright even though it's not. So if that's the case for you and you are doing squats and all your weight is on this one leg, believe me, you are going to feel it at some point. You're going to have hip and back issues, all of that. So shift to that center, and that's going to feel not centered. The brain is going to be really confuddled with that. So try looking in a mirror. That's going to be much more helpful. Try to think about the feelings in the bottoms of the feet and less about whether it feels upright. So think about, does it feel like equal weight distribution? Okay, moving on from there. From feet, let's go to knees. So knees, I do want them to track over the tops of the feet, but I'm not worried if the knees go past the toes, which I know that a lot of people will see, don't let the knees go past the toes. We need that ankle dorsiflexion, so I'm not worried about that at all. But I do want them to track over the top so knees aren't going in weird directions. Okay. If you do find that you go down and your knees are here, then you want to look at first the feet and then the hips. So if the knees are valgus and going in toward one another, check to see if the feet, if you have flat feet or pronation, if the feet are falling inward. Okay? So if that's the case, I will have you look up an exercise online. It's very easy, called short foot. And you can go into the short foot position, which will then upright the knees. Easy peasy. It doesn't fix the pronation issue, but for squats, it will protect during that time that you're using them. If the feet aren't the problem, then it could be lack of stability and muscle at the glute medius and down the sides of the legs, so then you'll want to get exercises for those, which I can't talk about right now because we're just doing squats, but you can find those exercises online too. All right, so now we move up towards the hips. What are we thinking about? We are really, really thinking about that hip hinge. Okay, that is so key to everything. And again, go up and read that article that I wrote on hip hinging. That's going to really change your world, especially if you have a lot of back pain. So now we have that, we are aware of that. The next piece is the chest. So if I turn this way and show you, here I am, and if I imagine I have an instructor and I'm following them in a class, I'm probably here because I want to see what they're doing. But that really shifts everything. So the minute that my chest rises, I lose all connection with my core. I need to take the chest and drop it down into the core to keep everything solid. So then, if I hip hinge over in that position, then bend my knees, then I'm here. Now my neck is still looking at the instructor. So I can really feel that my core is connected through the trunk, but I'm still here, which can, for a lot of people, cause issue right here. So my suggestion is to keep the spine in alignment and the crown of the head is reaching diagonally forward. Does that mean you might be behind in class a little bit because you're not actually watching the instructor? Sure, it may be. But if becoming more aware of your squats and becoming more aware of what's going on inside of your body is important to you, go to the back of the class and learn how to do the squats properly. Maybe you do that for a few months, and then you can jump back into your regular positioning. It's up to you to take care of your body. The instructor up doing their routine has no idea in a large class what kind of injuries you have or compensations, so it's really up to you to protect yourself. And that's just a huge part of this series, is how do you protect your body and your nervous system while you're taking a fitness class or just out in your day. Maybe you're out in the garden. It's by tuning into your body and becoming aware, and when it's asking for something, to give it to them. So if the body says, hey, I'd really like to learn these squats properly because I'm in pain and I know that it will help, then take that path to the back of the class and begin working on this ever so slowly. Okay, so back to this. So remember, the chest gets dropped down into the core. Then we're keeping the spine alignment all the way down. Now what if we're doing this, okay, and we begin to feel it in the back? For a lot of people, the glutes haven't been working for a while, so the back, that mid or lower back, or sometimes even actually I've had clients with an upper back being taking over control. It's used to being in control, so it's kind of this battle between the glutes that have been asleep and the back that has been completely active. The back really wants to just do its job, what it thinks is its job, so it's really upset about the glutes then starting to kick in, so it's kind of this tug of war. And eventually, as the glutes get stronger and stronger and stronger, the back muscles are going to relax a little bit more. So anytime that you're in that position where you feel the back kick in, the first thing you need to do is stop doing the exercise, because you have to retrain. It's basically you're just shutting the back off. You're being like, nope, sorry, you are not in control of the situation. This is the glutes job. Then you can start again later or another day. But you really have to nip it in the bud. You can't just continue to do that exercise, even if you're trying to become aware. If there is pain, you just need to stop, reassess, move forward onto something else, and then come back to it, because it is about retraining the brain and nothing else at that point. Okay, so back to here. Actually, I think I can do it from forward. So now we've got a lot going on. We've got our feet equally balanced. We've got knees tracking over feet. We've got a nice hip hinge going on. And one of the things that if you have lordosis or an anterior tilted pelvis like this, this will cause back pain, and that's because the back is contracting. So you can try to think about lengthening through it, okay? So instead of here, we're allowing the length. So that may stop the pain right then. And if it doesn't, like I said, shut it off. But that's just one more piece of the puzzle that you can think about and check in with your body about to see if maybe that's the problem. Okay, and then so we have our hip hinge, our chest, our rib cage is in a continuous line with the core. Everything's engaged and working. Neck and spine nice and elongated through here. So I'm going to squeeze the glutes, and then I can come up, and then I go down. I have to release the glutes to come down. Then I contract the glutes to come up. I release the glutes and the hamstrings to come down. So you have to kind of think about that. It's a release and then a contract. A release and then a contraction. If you can't get the glutes to contract at all, try this. Put your hands right on your glutes. So we're creating proprioception. We're bringing the brain right there. We're telling exactly where we want it to contract. So as we go down, release, and then as we contract, we squeeze. So go ahead and literally squeeze the glutes, release the glutes. Squeeze and then release. So just adding that proprioception sometimes for some people is enough to get things moving. Not always. I have found that glutes can be pretty tricky. We are becoming so quad dominant and hip flexor dominant due to all of the sitting that everyone's doing, and then those glutes are just so sleepy, and these front pieces just get tighter and tighter and tighter. So if you know that your quads are quite tight, if you know you're tight in the hip flexors, chances are these glutes are asleep and they need to be woken up. So, give them some good squeezes. There are a lot of other exercises that we can talk about at some other point that can help with getting the glutes to be more active, but for now, give this a try and see what happens. The last piece of the puzzle is to add in breath, and this is to protect the pelvic floor. If you are a woman and it really doesn't matter whether you've given birth or not, I think that's a misnomer. eventually as we age, we still have to keep our pelvic floor really strong and healthy. So it's important for me when I teach my clients that they need to exhale before they do any kind of exertion. So in a squat position, it would be inhale down, and then this is the most common one, is exhale up. Actually, that's not in your best interest. What I'd like is the exhale to begin and then the movement to kick in afterwards. So so this is your diaphragm, this is your pelvic floor, so you're inhaling, and then you're exhaling. We allow that release before we begin the exertion, and that is going to protect that wonderful pelvic floor. Okay, so let's try it again. So inhale down, release the glutes, and then we begin the exhale, and then we come up. So we are starting to retrain that pelvic floor as well. If you have leakage issues, this is imperative and can really help with those. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. I think we've gone through pretty much everything. I'll be back again.